What's up guys, Nico Lind here, and it is bright and early in the morning. It's 5 a.m. and today we are flying to another country to survey a boat for a client. Alright, so here's a quick game plan for today. I've told you guys before, I am a yacht broker. It's what I do for a living. And I'm making these yacht broker vlogs, and if anyone is interested in the profession or interested in becoming a yacht broker, this is a video to watch. But I have a boat under contract with a client that's over in Nassau, Bahamas. You know, being a yacht broker is not like a real estate agent where, you know, you can just live in one city and just sell houses in that one city. No, people take boats all over the place, you know. Sometimes the boat that a client's looking for may be up in Maine, and so you have to be willing to travel to go see that boat and help those clients with that boat. And so today's one of those days. It's going to be a two-part vlog. Today is Tuesday. I'm flying over to the Bahamas today, and then tomorrow we're doing survey sea trial, and then I'm flying back. I'm going to take you guys with me, show you what it's like having to fly to another country and incur all those expenses just to survey and sea trial a boat. Stick around to the end of the video because I am going to put together all the costs, you know, Ubers, hotels, flights, train tickets, all that stuff that it costs before we can even make a sale and before I can even make a commission, because there is a lot of out-of-pocket expenses in this industry. I also had to pack double, which sucks because today's Tuesday. I'm surveying the boat Wednesday in the Bahamas, and then early Thursday morning I'm flying to Bolivia. And so it's going to be a hectic couple days, but stick around. I'm taking you with me. I'm sitting here waiting on my Uber to pick me up and take me to the train station, so I'm taking you with me. So stick around, and this is what it's like traveling as a South Florida yacht broker for clients. Got an Uber to the Brightline station, checked into the station, got a snack, talked to my wife and the pups for a little bit, got a little bit of work done on the train, caught the Brightline shuttle to the airport. A quick word of advice: if you travel a lot like you have to do in this industry, Clear and TSA PreCheck are a lifesaver when it comes to saving some time. Now this one is not for everyone, but if you travel a lot like you do in this industry, if you want to be successful, the American Express Platinum card that gets you access to all of these lounges where you get free food and drinks is an absolute no-brainer, and I recommend it to everyone who travels a lot. Left the American Express Centurion Lounge to head to my gate to board the plane. Found my seat on the plane, made it to Nassau, caught a taxi from the airport to my Airbnb. My driver was Jamie. He is the best dressed taxi driver in the entire Bahamas. I'll put his contact information in the description below. I recommend him to anyone. Made it to my Airbnb. It's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done for just a one-night work trip. Decided I would walk to go find something to eat. This is the neighborhood where my Airbnb was, and to us Americans, the neighborhood looks pretty rough, but I've been around the Bahamas for my entire life. This is honestly what a regular neighborhood in the Bahamas looks like for the locals, so I wasn't worried. I knew what I was getting into, and this was actually a pretty nice area of Nassau. Walked down this super scenic road with two giant limestone cliffs on either side. It looked like something out of Pirates of the Caribbean. Walked along the beach to get to the restaurant. I made it to the restaurant Aquafire. This was my first time here. It came pretty highly recommended by some of the locals. I treated myself to some stone crab because that is one of my favorite things in the world, and this spot is an awesome little restaurant. I recommend it to anyone. Found a scenic shortcut on the way home up over a hill. Tried not to fall into this rock ravine, and made it back to my Airbnb. That's the house. The room I'm staying in is through the back gate. It's very private, very out of the way. I felt very safe the whole time. All right, we're back here in the cozy Airbnb. It's late. I'm just finishing up editing some of this footage I took today for the YouTube video. It's been a hectic day. I'm exhausted. Tomorrow's a big day. We have the survey. I'm flying back to Miami to get ready to go to Bolivia on Thursday. So let's get some sleep, and I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. What is going on, everybody? It's the next day. It's a little bit overcast, but it's a beautiful morning. It's survey day, and the boat is only about a little over a mile away from where my Airbnb was. And so I decided that I'd just go ahead and work off those conch fritters from yesterday. So I'm on my way to the boat, and I'll catch up with y'all when I get there and show you what goes into a survey. So long story short, walking to the boat ended up being a terrible idea. It was further than I thought, and on top of that, it was down one of the main highways of Nassau. So there I was with a backpack and a rolling backpack, dragging it through the grass and dirt on the side of the road because there's no sidewalks. Luckily, a bus saw me struggling and pulled over and gave me a ride to where I was going. This is the neighborhood that I was going to. It's Old Fort Bay. It's a beautiful neighborhood, one of my favorite in Nassau, absolutely gorgeous. But unfortunately for me, when I got to the front gate and told them what house I was going to, I was promptly told that this was the wrong entrance to the neighborhood and the other one was over a mile down the road. There was no bus in sight and no taxis around, so I turned around and started walking my way all the way to the other entrance. Luckily, somebody who knew who I was saw me walking, stopped, and gave me a ride to the house I was going to. This is the boat that I'm here to survey. It's an Intrepid 430 sport yacht. It's an awesome boat. It rides well. It's extremely nicely laid out. It's an Intrepid, so you know it's built well. The family I'm shopping for is going to cruise around the Bahamas, and there really is no better boat for them. Here is another look at the Intrepid that we're here to survey. These Intrepid sport yachts, they do an extremely good job of bridging the gap between small yacht and big boat, all while keeping the simplicity and efficiency of outboards. For a little boat to cruise around the Bahamas and be able to overnight from time to time, you cannot beat it. The first thing we did when we got there was get on the owner's floating dock so the surveyor could get under the boat and tap out the hull of the boat to search for any soft spots or delamination. After tapping out the hull, we actually jumped straight into the sea trial so that we could get that over with before we got hit with some rain. You can see it was a beautiful glass calm day out there. As I just mentioned, these Intrepid sport yachts are awesome boats. Intrepid is known for building a very high quality boat and a very high quality boat that performs well. And this one was no exception. It blew our expectations away. Granted, it was glass calm, but it's an Intrepid. We know these boats, we know they perform well in rough water, so that gives us a peace of mind. And I do want to say quickly that while I and HMY Yacht Sales represented the buyers in this deal, the sellers were represented by Stephen Muniv of Muniv Yachting, and he was an absolute pleasure to deal with, and he made the deal very easy. While underway for sea trial, the surveyor goes through all of the ship systems that can be tested while underway, the electronics, the autopilot, the radar, the depth sounder, all of that stuff to make sure that it works. I always recommend to all of my buyers, hire a good surveyor so you know exactly what you are buying. For this survey, the buyers actually decided not to get an engine survey. These motors are fairly new. They only have 300 hours on them, and we have every piece of service history since the boat and motors were brand new. And I am relatively mechanically inclined, so I gave the motors a really good once over to make sure everything was okay. But they got up to RPM, no problem. They pushed the boat, no problem. All the service has been done on time or early, which is exactly what we want to see. So we felt very comfortable going in to this boat without a motor survey. Tomorrow morning, I actually have a flight down to Bolivia to see my wife and her family. So I caught the last flight out of Nassau so I could be back in Miami to catch my flight to Bolivia in the morning. I made it to the airport and I'm going to find my terminal, and stick around because I'm about to go over all of the costs that I've incurred so far in this deal, and this is without ever making a commission on this deal yet. Time to get on the airplane. So as promised, here is a cost breakdown of all of the costs that I've incurred to make this survey and sea trial happen with my clients. I've spent a grand total of $719.51. And that's a lot of money. $720 is not a small amount of money. And this is all money I'm spending knowing I could not make a dime off of it. If we went to that survey sea trial and something went drastically wrong, my clients would back away, not buy the boat, and I'm not making any commission on this deal whatsoever. So clearly the point I'm trying to make here is that if you want to get into this industry, you have to make sure that you do have the financial ability to have these large out-of-pocket expenditures to be able to do these things before you start seeing your commissions come in. Once you're down the road and you're starting to sell, a boat a month, 2 boats a month, it becomes easy because you have money constantly coming in. But when you're first starting out in this industry, the first 1, 2, 3 years, when deals are few and far between, it can get a little bit tough sometimes when you're having to spend several hundred, occasionally a couple $1,000 just to make a deal happen. And a deal that probably is not going to make you a whole lot of money when you're first starting out in this industry. These clients, I've been working for over a year. I've easily spent thousands of dollars on these clients, but it all worked out because they're happy. I found them the perfect boat for what they're looking for, and it's all worth it in the end because that's really why we do this, to find the perfect boat for people. That's about it for this video. If you liked it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video.